What is formative assessment? Formative assessments are tests, quizzes, games, or group work designed to evaluate how well a student is learning the material in a class. The goal of this assessment is to understand what your students know and what you will have to review before the class concludes. During the October 2006 inaugural FASTCAS meeting in Austin, Texas, the following definition of formative assessment was adopted without dissent. Formative assessment is a process used by teachers and students during instruction that provides feedback to adjust ongoing teaching and learning to improve students' achievement of intended instructional outcomes. A closer look at the definition. The primary purpose of the formative assessment process as conceived in this definition is to provide evidence that is used by teachers and students to inform instruction and learning during the teaching learning process. Effective formative assessment involves collecting evidence about how student learning is progressing during the course of instruction so that necessary instructional adjustments can be made to close the gap between students' current understanding and the desired goals. Formative assessment is not an adjunct to teaching but rather integrated into instruction and learning, with teachers and students receiving frequent feedback. Formative assessment refers to the ongoing process students and teachers engage in when they 1. Focus on learning goals. 2. Take stock of where current work is in relation to the goal. 3. Take action to move closer to the goal. The best formative assessment involves both students and teachers in a recursive process. It starts with the teacher who models the process for the students. At first, the concept of what good work looks like belongs to the teacher. The teacher describes, explains, or demonstrates the concepts or skills to be taught, or assigns student investigations, reading assigned material, locating and reading materials to answer a question, doing activities or experiments to put content into students' hands. For example, the teacher shares the aspects of a good descriptive paragraph and tells students how their work compares to the ideal. Gradually, students internalize the learning goals and become able to see the target themselves. They begin to be able to decide how close they are to it. Not for grading. Formative assessment is not used for grading. Students need and deserve an opportunity to learn before they are graded on how well they have learned. Formative assessment is used before instruction to find out where students are and during instruction to find out how they are progressing. The fact that the results of formative assessment are not used for grading makes it even more useful for learning, especially for less able students. They are free to pay attention to figuring out how they are doing and what they need to work on without worrying about a grade. There is some evidence that good students use all information, including graded work, formatively. This is not the case for students who experience negative feelings after failure. These feelings get in the way of processing additional information about their learning. For such students, the value of feedback is lost, overshadowed by the low grade. Some experts call assessment before instruction diagnostic assessment and reserve the term formative for assessment during instruction. Others use diagnostic to mean the kind of assessment that, whenever it occurs, gives information to teachers to inform specific lesson plans. The main idea being that diagnostic assessment identifies student weaknesses for teachers to address, because an important aspect of formative assessment is that both teachers and students use the information. This action tool will use the term formative assessment to mean collecting any information before or during instruction that can be shared with students and used for improvement.